Yeah. It is.
Hi, I'm Diego. I'm lead guitarist from Dark Water.
I'm Marco, play the drums for Dark Water.
I'm Raul. I sing and play in Dark Water.
Don't worry about me, I'm already dead. Sorry, I'm Sean on the bass.
That was because you had to change from vanadium because there was another vanadium in the States and
West Australia.
yeah, also.
Oh, that's the States.
That's the States. Okay, it was Western Australia. And yeah, Raul already had a song called Dark Water, and the previous guitarist just mentioned. Oh, we had a whole list. We had a list full of potential names.
He's the manager actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it
I
was
thought anyway. And they picked that song as a name, and it wasn't actually the name that Raul was. What you
yeah, it was
wanting to choose.
Didn't have much say. We were called Vanadian.
It's not even your band, is it?
We were called Vanadian first, and I mean I had a name for the band that was completely different, and I still like it, but no one wanted it because it sounded like a fucking body genital part or something like that.
An audio.
A whole audio. Anyway, so when we started having this fight, lo and behold, a band with the same name, Vanadium, in West Australia. Just after I went and tried to trademark it, our then manager was talking with our ex-guitarist of that day, and he looked through our set list and he told me a story. So he said, I just looked through his set list and I just looked at the guitar player and I said, what about Dark Water? Because I had a song, as my brother said, a song called The Dark Water. And so when they came to us about it, later on, we just, because I was complacent, I wasn't so worried about what band name you'd have.
Yeah, it wasn't like a total shit name, it wasn't like a over the top name, it was just something that was sort of fit in between, eh?
Yeah, we just went, yeah, why not, whatever. And we just got on with the job.
I think it was more a thing that you just wanted to get a name.
Yeah.
Because at the time you were sort of, whatever you had with Vanadium, the wave with that, and then you needed to keep it rolling straight away and you had to change or fight for the name, which neither of us did anyway.
We've been around since officially the 24th of December 1992, and the full lineup became a reality by April '93. Played our first show October the 16th, 1993, and fucking thought we were going to be as big as Metallica, eh? You weren't recording that? Okay. And I just saw the red light on top going off and off and going, oh no, I missed that bit. Yeah. And have I been in a previous band for a while?
Really? Heaps. Raul hasn't, you haven't?
No, I haven't.
I have. First band ever. Yeah.
Does anyone want to mention any of the other bands?
Well, I mean, I've been in about 2 punk bands, and I mean, no one knows their names anyway, but one was called the DTs, the other one was called Three-Way Hole Grinder.
Yeah, but as soon as he hears the word hole,
that's the kind of shit that I used to like playing.
And you still playing in Blacken?
Yeah, Blacken, Black Rain.
Black Rain,
yeah. The almighty blacks.
The blacks.
The all blacks.
everything's dark or black.
Yeah.
It's a Bay Area scene, predominantly. Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit of death, the Florida scene too. I mean,
I could say that that's especially with me and my brother. I mean, with Sean's different stuff and that.
But like, I mean, I've chucked in Frank Zappa and Alice Cooper influences and everything, all the way back.
Yeah.
All the good musicians that we've all grown up to love and everything, they've all made an impact. They've all gone into that mix, you know.
I mean, I myself, aside from listening to a lot of Bay Area thrash, there's a couple little bits of death metal I listen to, not to the extent of Sean, just the good standard stuff, it's like your Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angels. But I also listen to Andean Latin music, which has influenced the last 2 albums a little bit here and there. And I listen, and believe it or not, there's one influence that no one in any review ever catches, because it's probably impossible to get, but a lot of my riffs are actually influenced directly from film soundtrack music, like Star Wars and Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica. And if I fucking sat you down and watched that, say, see that fucking piece of music, and I play a riff, and you'll hear something similar, and you go, holy fuck, he's ripped it off.
It's called riffed off.
We've got 3 albums. We've got 2 demos, and you know, been in I don't know how many compilations overseas and around the traps. It's on that website. It's probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8 little.
Did I see like a re-release of one of the albums recently, or sometime back? It might have been with a DVD as well, I think.
Is it the second album when it was released in 2006? No, the second before.
Oh, the
original it was released
2003.
2003, but there was a few things that they were, you know, needs to be fixed.
It wasn't to the standard of
so we really
all the bands that are around. And I mean, everyone knows Europe is the centre of metal. It's you know, Barking and all that sort of thing. So I remember distinctly finishing the album and thinking, oh yeah, I'm happy with this, I like it. And then I went and bought a couple of album releases, and the bands that have got nothing to do with thrash metal. And funny enough, it was the band Nightwish. And I sat there in my room and I compared Nightwish and Dark Water, and they had this huge wide sound and clear, everything was clear. And here we were sounding kind of smallish and a bit muddy and really bad snare. I'm just going, fuck. And so it really dawned on me, I had to bite the bullet and say, well, you've got to, if you really want this thing to sound what it deserves to sound like, because you're going to have to remix it. And so the next couple of years was spent remixing it and remastering. So we released it as a special release by the time 2006. We were the first Aussie metal band to do a double-sided disc, DVD and CD, which is a format that's not that popular anyway. So,
because scratch the arse out of it.
Yeah, I've seen the Earache does it a fair bit with like Napalm Death, Scum and stuff like that was all re-released in a similar fashion.
Yeah. It's handy because it's only one disc.
Yeah.
Just got a double printer and you don't have to have artwork on the disc. But
yeah, but that's the same thing, like you said, you've got to baby the fuck out of the disc. That's
Yeah.
And
so I ended up, we had one video clip we got done by Metal Warriors in Melbourne, and then I thought the clip was a bit cheesy. It wasn't bad, but just a little bit, you know, the power metal, let's be fucking metal bullshit. And and it wasn't really, to me, what Dark Water visually is, in the sense of we're thrash, and thrash bands are about, you know, being in your fucking street clothes and getting up on stage and just banging your head. You know, when you see footage of Violence, for instance, that band fucking blows me away every time I get to see any bit of footage of what they used to be like on stage, and their fucking crowds tearing down the PAs and shit. So, did their Terran Empire, and I actually shot it and directed it and edited the whole thing on my Mac at home, and we enjoy that clip. And a couple of people on YouTube from Europe have ripped the clip and put it up themselves because they like it. So it's
awesome.
What's that say, you know? So we plan to do a couple of more clips. Well, in the past, the first couple of albums, I went to sound engineering school, and also worked at, you know, a big guitar shop, like not a mums and dads guitar shop. It used to be a really high end, you know, pro music sort of pro musos guitar shop, and so I got kind of schooled. Well, I got schooled about having all valve and all analog, and that's the shit, and that's the sound. And then the first 2 albums we recorded on analog tape because I do like the sound, but unfortunately analog tape, each reel is about over $300 and only holds 15 minutes worth of music. So this time around, digital recording has progressed far enough that it's about this close to analog that only a sound engineer could pick it. The average Joe couldn't pick it. So we went around this time, and the studio I went to had all these valve mic preamp. So as I was saying, this time around recording, the studio went to had a whole load of had a whole bunch of valve mic preamps made by David Peach, who's a very well-known amp repair guy in Sydney. And with that had enough of the analog thing that it just, you couldn't, went down a tape, or they still use that expression, went down a tape. When it was recorded, you can't tell it was done with Pro Tools, and also, because this time we used Pro Tools, and also the studio had a Sleishman, the 10 grand version Sleishman. We borrowed it, and that thing just sounds fucking killer. I never heard a drum kit like that in my fucking life. And so, and also, we're a band that doesn't use click tracks, or we minimally use them if there's no percussion going on. And
Just say the truth, I can't fucking play with it. I'm not that good.
Yeah. But I find, we did the second album, we did do clicks because our drummer at that time, Vlad, was Russian, and being from the European scene, and everyone uses click tracks.
You know what you have to do.
So he asked me to make click tracks, and they made the songs feel so unnatural and weird for us. And to this day, that Violence Continue album feels a bit cold for me when I listen to it, compared to the first and the new album. They got this vibe. That's because it's a band, you know, all the great albums, you know, Shawnee will fucking tell you, there's so many great legendary albums that it's the half of what's on tape is the band's performance. It's not just the riffs and the drums and the singing.
Yeah,
it's the way that band works. And then you go watch them live and you go, fuck, they're either as good as the album or better.
If you can't get through the muddiness to get through the gold of the band, then fuck you, mate. You know, like, go, I don't know, go away.
Find it.
Yeah, I know. Look for the gold in the shit. It's there.
Can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in sprinkles.
Run some order.
Yeah, we
Top band.
The drummer taught me everything.
Friggin' sensational, mate. I love it. That damn EP hasn't got out of the friggin' car for... We had it on our front not long ago.
Yeah, we were listening on the car.
That was unreal, mate.
But it's been a great experience. I mean, for me and probably for Shawnee, we never went too far doing tourings or playing. So
yeah, first time in Tassie as well. Eh?
This is the first time in Tassie for all of us.
and it's been great. You know, it's just a
We've not been that far. We haven't been off. This is actually the first time we've been off the mainland to do a show. So we've done shows in Melbourne before when I've had different lineups, or when my brother's been in the band, because he's been in the band before.
Don't forget Drudgery. Drudgery. We forgot Drudgery. Marco was in Drudgery.
Yeah, he was in a band called Drudgery before.
I did my little stint, but stink.
Been to Adelaide, fucking drove 16 hours back from Adelaide to Sydney. Fucking hell, that was the longest fucking Sunday. Sorry, I'm hoping we. Actually, this is the first time Darkwater has ever done a tour thing, like a little tour, and we're being more like what bands do, international bands do. You know, you're flying and you're hiring gear and you're not really driving yourself in karting. It's just an Australian thing to do. I mean, I know they do it in Europe, but you've got to consider Germany, for instance, the size of New South Wales. So a band to arrive there and do a tour with a few other bands, every town's only 2 hours away. For us, Melbourne to fucking Sydney is 10 hours, you know. So this is the first time we've been flying and experiencing and fucking up and doing all that shit.
Fucked over by fucking airport.
And customs. The customs people took my fucking.
Get this.
Why?
The 4 of us as a band, we went to the airport and he didn't make it.
I was this far from you, and the pricks fucking told me to say
sorry, it's cancelled, the flight is cancelled for you. So we took the flight and you have to take another one, man.
Fucking $120 later, you fucking piece of shit.
Fuck Jetstar, but
Mole.
probably just the Melbourne crew of Jetstar. Much. With Destruction.
Awesome.
And I got a little story to tell.
Yeah,
I'll never forget about it. Abandoned Incarnate from
Ireland, man, from Ireland.
They
Yeah.
came here and they did a show. That was one of my. I remember one of my most favourite shows.
Brutal, eh?
But with Destruction, I'll never forget, you know, we played the show with them, and that same day they needed someone to do bass tech, so I just said, I'll put my hand up, I'll do it for you. And what's his name? Schmear comes over on stage with the bass, because he asked me beforehand, listen, when I give you the bass, you must tune the bass and give it back to me. Right? And he gave me the fucking bass, and I couldn't find a tuner. So I turned around going, just God damn it. He goes, and then he comes and yells at me with his German accent. He goes, "As I was tune?" And I went, yeah. And I gave him back the bass and he kept playing. I didn't even get the tune thing. And then he gets on stage. He gets very he gets it because he's under that stage stress of, you know, putting on a show. He gets a little. It's easy for him to click, you know, to lose a little bit. And he was yelling something in German. I'm going, okay, no worries. I couldn't understand a word. And then after the gig, and mind you, I'm a short little dude, and his chest is the same height as my head. He comes and gives me this big man covered in sweat. And I thought, this is a bit gay. He goes, I want to thank you, my brother. I was like, you know.
Wouldn't happen.
He's dripping in sweat too, eh?
How do you see the Sydney metal scene? How does it stack up against
Don't
other
let me
states
even
or the
start.
rest of the world for that matter?
Go for it, Sean.
Oh,
Yeah, well, that's right. Ralph's too opinionated.
I'm not any better, man.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm not.
I can just say, basically, what happened in Sydney is just massive town, massive city, right? But it's just
Lifeless, dead.
here we go.
Oh,
But it's just hard to get the people out, man. And we have put amazing shows with a lot of different good bands, man. And then the band brings all the mates, and then just, you know, they see the band and they
People come ready going to a nightclub.
So then the next band has
to go to the fucking nightclub.
And then
Fuck off. Go to the nightclub.
So at least for metal is disappointing, extremely disappointing.
Yeah, I don't think there is like I think it's more of a nightclub scene.
Yeah.
It's not. It
And
used to be alive back in the Lewisham days.
It's Anthrax Among the Living
The
front
90s.
cover. If you can imagine, remember that front cover, Among the Living? We're the living in Sydney.
Yeah.
We're the dude taking our top hat off. And everyone else in Sydney's that fucking drone.
And just very briefly,
I'm gonna be a total dick in a second.
briefly to compare it to what I was used to, you know, I left my home country in South America, Chile, when I was 18. And I was going every single weekend pretty much to
Rabid fans,
to watch bands. And you will just go watch one band maybe, you know, and you get in and you stay for 6-7 months. Every single band, every single people stay just to watch all the bands and enjoy the metal. And then I come here, man, and just, you know, these people come and then they go. New people come and then they go, and it's just like...
Put it this way, you know, over there, I've been told by other Latinos that, I mean, me and my brother, our parents are from Chile.
Are you serious? All this time I thought I was Aussie.
Anyway, we were told that, you know, over there you go to a local show, and as soon as they hear the start, everyone bull rushes to the stage like mad fuckers. And here it's like, oh yeah, let's get in and have a fucking watch the fucking...
Remember the Pentagram video, man? Did you ever get a sight of that? Pentagram in the
that's
1980s.
Pentagram?
Dudes that come from running from the side of the stage and launch themselves into the crowd, mate. Full foot back, just... You know, like...
Yeah.
Far out.
I've only seen that once in Sydney. That was a bowl thrower.
Oh, bowl thrower,
That was
yeah.
1994.
At Union.
That's
yeah,
how
at
old it was.
Union. And then that was open age.
Yeah,
And there was a kid stage diving.
That was top though.
Yeah, but the sound was shit.
It was
It fell on the wood and fell on the floor. Like
Sean would know. To say that Model Sin is, I don't think
That's
accurate.
They got Slaughterlord.
I think Slaughterlord was the
Yeah, I was
first.
going to say because I wouldn't know.
What about Enticer? Were they thrash?
But see, this is a funny question because were they considered thrash, death, black, Viking, whatever the poof?
Are you talking about like Slaughterlord?
Yes.
Because they were a mix of...
That's what I mean.
a lot of
like,
stuff,
we
yeah.
didn't classify it back then. It was metal.
Yeah,
It wasn't this. Oh, let's put it in this basket. You know, and that's
Because even when
it's an
Model
interesting
Sin came
question.
What about Seven Churches? Not Seven Churches.
Yeah, because even when Mortal
Possessed.
Sin came out, Ralph,
Huh?
the Mortal Sin when they came out, there wasn't the word thrash metal.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
So that's an interesting sort of question.
Even though you've only been here for a short time, but just in general.
Man,
Everyone's friendly.
I've been here before. You
Yep.
know, like I wouldn't move if I could get a job here. This is a paradise to me. I love it. It's beautiful. There's every spectrum from a beach in like a summertime where you can go for a mad, like down the eastern side.
Yeah.
You've got the maddest animal parks I've ever seen. You've got snow, you've got fishing galore, you've got everything here to me. Everything. It's beautiful. It's God's country, this.
I mean, sorry for me that it was also a notorious man in Sydney. Everything is fancy, you know. So, and then here watching all these beautiful old cars, you know.
I know the
you
old
could put it in
cars,
Sydney,
yeah.
man. They wouldn't even pass the rego.
No, they wouldn't pass rego.
You couldn't. And for me,
But they're perfectly good cars. They're better
Yeah.
cars than the
Oh,
shit
man.
of today. The plastic
Proper,
garbage
man.
of today.
I love, you know, bushwalking and fishing and all that sort of stuff. And
Push,
you know,
push, waggity.
Tasmania has like 1/3 of Tasmania is just national park. So I'd love to live here for a while.
You just come back from, what was it? Kimberley's?
In Kimberley's, man.
In Kimberley's, yeah.
Completely different. 42 degrees to, you know.
Words of wisdom on.
Words of evil.
Mention the new album.
Oh, yeah, well, just, you know, a Cold War, the Condor's out. Buy it if you enjoy it. Be a real fan. Don't fucking download it for free. Buy it, own it, and enjoy it for the rest of your life, you know.
Where can they purchase it?
They can purchase it online, direct with our label for Australia. There is a shop in Melbourne that will stock it as well. Not Metal. They have another shop currently.
Yeah, well, an unmentioned Sydney record place can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, they're no
Sorry,
longer able to stock our labels. But for us, locally, you can get it online at battlegodproductions.com direct with PayPal. It gets sent to your house. No bullshit of going out to, you know, someone's shop to look for it.
Thanks for your time today, Dark Order. This is Matthew Biggett for TMS, and stay metal.